Support for Ramplify comes from Victorville Cadillac, offering a selection of new and pre-owned Cadillac vehicles. More information about Victorville Cadillac's latest inventory is available at vvcadillac.com. Listener discretion is advised. The following episode includes discussions of drugs, abuse, violence, death, and other mature subject matter. These topics are shared through a conversation between two Victor Valley College students reflecting on their experiences in foster care. We now present you Ramplify the Podcast.
This is Ramplify the Podcast at Victor Valley College. Victor Valley College. Victor Valley College.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Joe. As you guys can see, I'm not the original host of this podcast, but I am a VBC advocate for foster care awareness, and I am decided to take the horns on this interview today. We have a special guest by the name of Yvette Chavarin, and she will be telling us about her journey in the foster care system and kind of what that did to her. With that being said, let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning, though. So obviously, you've been in the system. This is why we're here. This is why we're having this conversation. How did that happen? Like, what was that like for you? What take me through the process of how you went into the system.
So CPS has been in my life since from the ages of 4 to 5. It started out with my mother, my biological mother, getting custody of me around 4. I don't really have clear memory of that, so I might be wrong, but So I was living with her for a while in Corona Rancho, and we would have visitations with my father, who had just gotten out of jail for a domestic dispute between her and him. And I think I was 5. It was like a year into everything. I was 5.
Okay.
And it was a visitation that I was having with me, my mother, and my father in an old house here in Victorville. The house is still up, actually. But
have you been back to it since then?
I honestly, at the beginning, it was after everything, it was really hard looking at that house.
Yeah.
It was really hard looking at that house. Sometimes I still pass it, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that's where it all started.
We've had the privilege of talking off camera, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Prior to the interview and stuff like that. And I kind of want to know, you mentioned about your mom, right? And obviously, to your discretion, I want to know, whatever you feel comfortable with. Tell me more about that. What was that like?
So I don't really have much. I didn't have much of a relationship with her, even in my early years. We just didn't. I have more fond memories with my father, but I don't really know too much about her side of everything. I lost contact with her after she went to prison, and we'll get to that. But it was like I said, I would visit with my father when I was living with her. We would go to Victorville and visit, and it was during one of our visits that my mother had told my father, oh, hey, we're gonna go get stuff for a little picnic date, whatever. And that's not really what happened. We ended up actually in a hotel room, and it was really weird. I don't have too many memories of this, but I was told I was sick and I needed medication for something. I don't know what this medication was. I honestly don't even know if it was medication. I've been told many things growing up. I don't exactly know what was given to me, but I was given such a strong dose amount of whatever it was that it put me in the hospital, and I ended up waking up in the hospital. I don't remember everything that happened in between that. Sure. But from what I know from either people in my life or documentation that I remember reading growing up, is that she was actually planning to kill me, and she was going to kill herself. I don't know what type of sick fantasy, but it was going to be something like that. Yeah. And I survived that. I woke up in the hospital. She had already been arrested, a bunch of other stuff. My father was in questioning as well. Family was in questioning. Right. I did wake up with some surrounding family members with me. Yeah.
And how old did you say you were in this time?
5, 5. Around the age of 5. Dang. So, you
That's
you
crazy.
wake up from getting your stomach pumped, and you're kind of confused because there's all these wires connected to you, and you're like,
no, that's
what's
crazy.
happening?
Yeah, no, I think that's very interesting. And first of all, I want to say I applaud you for not only going through something like that and having to endure something like that, but to be able to talk about it. It's a very difficult situation, and it's not something that somebody should feel comfortable talking about, but spreading awareness to it is very important.
Yeah, I mean, when you go through something for, 14 years of your life and how it affects you, it's really
traumatic.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
traumatic.
for
It's
sure.
a process
Yeah,
of understanding what happened to you. Because even
Right.
now, I still don't really understand. Like I said, I don't really understand what happened to me. I don't know what was
Yeah.
used. I don't know, all the in between. I've never seen the documentation for that process in court and
Right.
stuff like that. I wasn't even able to be in court.
Yeah.
Because immediately after, when I woke up in the hospital, I don't know how long the process was, but my family, what I found out later was that my family was supposed to get custody of me, but what really happened is they were taken back, probably questioned by the social workers and stuff and authorities, but I was just placed in some guy's arms and then
That's so
taken off to
crazy.
foster care
Yeah.
to my first home.
No, that's got to be traumatic. I think I can level with you to a degree because I think when I got taken, I didn't really know how to make sense of it. Again, I'm not talking from, trying to understand. Like, we went through a lot of similar situations.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so for me, I think it was kind of traumatic because my dad was the alcoholic, you know what I mean? Kind of going through his whole thing and everything like that. And he was the reason why essentially I was born disabled. I have a condition called cerebral palsy, but a lot of that was inflicted due to the domestic violence and the fact that he was a major alcoholic, So when you talk about your situation with your mom, that's how I can level with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool though. But again, I want to say that I do applaud you for going through what you went through and continuing to be the person that you are. I did have a follow-up question in regards to that. I wanted to know, so you talked about your mom and kind of like how you got introduced to her in a sense. What is that relationship like now? Is that a relationship or?
No, there's no relationship. I've had, I wouldn't say contact, but I've had, notifications brought up by either my dad at the time or my stepmom currently, letting me know like, hey, this, she followed me, or I saw her stuff on Facebook, or when she got out of prison after 8 years. That was really hard for me.
Okay, so she did end up doing the time.
Yeah, she did 8 years.
Okay,
She did 8 years in prison.
Cool.
She went from one prison to another after an incident.
Right.
I think I was 14 when she got out.
Okay.
And I remember being I actually remember being in the Food for Less parking lot
No.
with my mom and dad when they're like, hey, we got to talk to you.
That's
And I
crazy.
was like, oh no, is this about me
Right.
being bisexual?
Oh no. Oh no.
And no, it was, they were telling me, hey, Sophia is out of prison. And
Okay.
I didn't think it would affect me as much because I had already lived so much of my life afterwards.
Yeah.
So when I was told that, it was like, oh, okay. But then it hit me
Right.
when I got home, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
That actually happened.
That really
Yeah,
happened to
facts.
me. And that happens
Facts.
a lot now in life
Yeah.
too. I still go back and I think about it and I'm like, I really can't believe I went through that. That's insane. But most of the time it's that was Tuesday.
Yeah. I think one of the things I want to say is first of all, nobody should have to endure those kind of things. They make them normal. I think that a common misconception of being in foster care is we go through a lot of things prior to actually being in the system, and a lot of things we normalize because we're like, well, that's my regular everyday life, so it doesn't mean nothing to me. You know what I mean? That to me, that's my normal. That everybody should go through something similar. But the reality of it is nobody should have to endure half of what we did, right? But it's okay, this happened to you, but what are you going to do with it, right? How are you going to learn? What is the lesson to be learned? Not only that, but how do you not let that affect you as a person growing up? You know what I mean?
It's kind of hard when it's kind of hard. Cut that. It's kind of weird how when we're brought into the system, they kind of already expect us to be doing so much better than them,
Sure.
so much better than the people who
Right.
put us in that situation,
Right.
because they're immediately like, okay, well, you have to. This happened to you, yes, but you need to get your grades up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bro, I don't even know what grades. I don't even know what grades are. I didn't even go to school for half of my life.
I didn't even want to go to school.
Yeah, I didn't even
for
want to go
sure.
to school. School was the least of my priorities growing up.
Right.
And then high school. Oh, don't even get me started on that. I went to 8 different high schools.
That's crazy.
8,
That's a lot.
and I
of
still
different
graduated on
yeah,
time, but
right.
8 different high schools.
Yeah. But I think it's something that people don't talk about. You know what I mean? I went through a lot of different high schools too. Not even just high schools, but schools in general. Elementary, middle, you know what I mean? Things like that. And so it's but that was prior to being in the system. That was, you know what I mean? That was prior to my journey when it actually started. But for me, I think it was a little bit different because I kind of already sensed that the system was kind of inevitable. You know what I mean? I think I was just kind of trying to run from it to a degree. But looking back on it now, looking at my circumstances and how bad they were, right? I'm Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, the system is probably the best bet, because I wasn't going to go nowhere with being with my parents,
I didn't have that mindset until I was 17.
Really?
Most of my experiences in the system, it wasn't really my choice to be placed in the system.
Sure.
I actually used to defend my father a lot because, I mean, I didn't mention it, but my father is a methamphetamine user. He was.
Okay.
I don't know. My biological mom's just a psycho. But
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of wanted to kind of dive into your, you talked about your mom, right? So I wanted to dive into kind of your dad's perspective in your life. Yeah. What was that approach like? Like, how do you perceive that today?
Today, okay. If we're talking about today, I would tell you a completely different thing than what I would tell you a couple years back. I mean, I know so much more now than what I thought I did then. My father used to be a methamphetamine user.
Okay.
I mean, along with other strains of drugs, but his main choice was methamphetamine. I think my relationship with him was I just loved him. That was my dad. That was my rock. That was my superhero. Like, it was really hard because I saw such a different side of him growing up than what everyone else around me knew.
Yeah.
I mean, to everyone else, my dad was this aggressive user who couldn't keep his kids and didn't know how to get straight and had just like all these issues. But with me, it's like I just saw a dorky guy who loved Harry Potter.
Right.
Like,
so what does that do to your mental, right? Because everybody says their opinion about him, but then it's like you see a whole different side. So what does that do to you?
It was weird, especially like when I first got introduced to the system and stuff like that. When my dad became the center of the problem, not my mother, because of course she was in prison at this time. It was just like a lot of, my dad would never do that. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Right.
Meth?
Right.
What's meth? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand why my dad takes care of me. Like, he makes me ramen noodles all the time whenever I want.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean he's a bad dad?
Right.
I have a bed. I have, I'm taking care of
necessities. Right.
The necessities in my little, 8-year-old mind is like
what you deem to be acceptable.
Yeah, my dad was taking care of me. My dad loves me. Like I'm his little girl. That really wasn't the case. I mean, when I got older, I really did understand, like, no, yes, my dad is an amazing person, but he wasn't the father that I needed growing up. Yeah. And he wasn't a great parental figure. Yeah. He wasn't someone that I should be looking up to. But every day I do say that I am here because of him. Wow. Like, he did teach me all the, all the morals that I have right now, all the feelings that I have towards people, and all the empathy that I've grown is from him, despite him putting me through these trials in life. Like, I have honestly everything to thank for. Like, I thank him for everything.
I think that's amazing because I think that, especially somebody that comes from, drugs and things like that, like people always have the misconception that they're just pieces of shit, right? Yeah. And they're just no good people. And a lot of times it is. I'm not saying that it's not, right? Or
there's a genuine issue out there.
But there is both sides of the coin. Like, there is people that genuinely are trying to do better, like, and that drug just got them in a vice, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, how do you judge somebody off of them just trying to do better? Like, obviously they're not going to make the best decisions off top, but it's the common consistency of, like, showing up for you. And like you said, your dad, providing you with the necessities that you needed, even if he wasn't in his right mind, you know what I mean? He still made it comfortable for you to be able to feel like, okay, if I have nobody in my life, at least I have my dad. You feel me? Like, that's awesome, dude.
And then being taken away from him was so troubling because it's like, he was my comfort source because I mean, I lost my mother. Right. I didn't really have my stepmom until like a little later. I think I was like in 4th grade when she was really fully introduced into my life. She's always been in my life, but being a mother figure was like later on. Yeah. Father, it still was hard because I mean, when he was using, I mean, I knew when he was using, especially when he was like making cups of coffee for someone that was not in the room he was having his own conversations. Oh man. And it was really weird. And I started learning the signs after a while, at so young, I started learning the signs, like, oh, when dad's asleep for like a week long, he's coming down. He's gonna be better in a couple days. He's gonna wake up. We're gonna have a good time. And back in August, or when August rolls around, I'll be back on the street asking for change. Wow. It was a process. It was what do they call that?
It was like a repetitive cycle.
Yeah, it was a cycle that I had to overcome often.
So you talk about, him being asleep for weeks at a time, and obviously you're a kid at this time. Like, how does that shape you? How do you survive? What do you do?
I mean, you learn. You're in survival mode. Honestly, you're in this like constant
fight or flight.
You're in this constant notion of just like, okay, well, he's not going to take care of me. I have to take care of us. I love my dad. He's always taking care of me. I'm going to take care of him now.
Yeah.
And even so, like one of my, like you mentioned, being as, how do I go around, you know, him being asleep for so long and stuff like that. I do have a fond memory of, well, not fond. I do have a memory of walking home from school. I think this was when I was going to West Palms.
Okay.
And I kind of lost my way home because I'm still learning how to walk home.
Right.
So we're like walking home and I'm like, wait, I forgot what street I turned on. And I was like lost. I was literally standing there like, I don't know what to do. And this random car comes up to me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get taken
What am I going to do? Yeah.
But no, it's actually a teacher or a woman who worked in the office. And she actually asked me if I needed a ride home. And she did bring me home. Yeah. She saw how the house looked. Wow. She saw my dad sleeping, just on the couch, passed out. Yeah. I went to school like nothing happened. That's crazy. There was no, question asked. There was no report made.
Wow. At least not to you, right?
I don't think in general, because nothing was looked into after that. And I do think about that often. I'm like, wow, I wonder how that person feels. Yeah,
right. Where they at now? Type thing.
Knowing that you could have done something to help.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're not going to give away signs of like, this is what I'm going through because you love your dad and you want to be with your dad ultimately, right?
And also I didn't really grasp how serious like that was for a man to be sleeping for a whole week long without waking up and then having like a child to take care of at the same time.
I think that's important because I think that, I share a similar situation, a similar experience in terms of my situation. I remember being in the courtrooms talking to these, my attorney at the time and stuff. But the flip side of that was like my mom telling the judge and telling everybody else that she was doing A, B, and C to get me back, going to the parenting classes and stuff like that. And the reality of it is she was doing none of that. You know what I'm saying? So imagine what that did to me, right? As a 13, 14-year-old, you know what I mean? Trying to make sense of the situation, like thinking, okay, one day, maybe soon it's going to be all over. We're going to be back. We're going to be reunified. And then come to find out that my mom was doing none of that, right? So
literally doing all you can to make a difference in your situation without knowing that your effort doesn't add up to what's actually going on. Yeah. I mean, I can't say that I've experienced that. My dad has gone through multiple classes. Like he used to do all of the classes that he needed to do to get me back, and he would get me back. Right. I've been with him multiple times across my experience with the foster care system, and every time I'd come back around September, so before my birthday.
Wow. Okay, so one more question before we go to break, man. I love your story, by the way. I think you're doing an amazing job. And again, I say this all the time, but I'm proud of you. One of the common misconceptions that we have with being in the system is a lot of people, they get tired of the situation or their placements and they run away. Have you ever experienced that? And if so, what was happening in that time?
So back in 2020 to 2021, my grandfather actually passed away, and that was really hard for me because I was living in San Bernardino at the time in a foster home out there. Yeah. And the foster parents didn't want to drive me out to the funeral. The social worker even tried working with them, like, hey, look, how about you drive halfway and then I'll drive the rest of the way and bring her, and then I'll just bring her back in full. They were not up for any of it. Yeah. And I really didn't have a say because this is during, COVID time. Right. So I'm like, I don't really know what I could do. We can't go to court. Right. I can't really, there's not really much I could do. So I was really frustrated with them, and they didn't seem to understand the frustration that I was having. Sure. And how much it was affecting me, because I think thinking back, it wasn't just his death that was affecting me. It was the fact that I was missing out on the life that I could have had with my family.
Man, that's deep. Yeah.
And that was really, really hard for me to understand and really hard for me to overcome. And then when I found out that someone so close to me and my dad, who I was living with, who I was taking care of, who my dad was taking care of, had passed away, and I couldn't be there for him to support my dad in any way. Yeah. It was really hard, and I was really frustrated, and I just decided to, you know what, I'm just going to pack a bag. I'm going to take a bus to home so I can go be at the funeral. Right. And I did end up running away that night. I ran out, and the girl who was living with us in the house as well, my foster sister at the time, she had actually followed me. It was a really difficult situation, because it's either I could be liable and bring her with me, or
you gotta tell her to go back.
Yeah, I gotta tell her to go back, and she was not willing to go back because she was her own person at that time and having her own, situation. Yeah. So we ended up walking around San Bernardino for almost until sunrise, and it was raining. Actually, it started raining in the middle of the night.
That's crazy.
This is a little bad on me, but we stole blankets from Walmart, and we just walked around. We had a couple people like trying to drive us like wherever, and we're like scared. So I just said like, let's just go home. So we got home, and I ended up. Why do I keep saying that? I knocked on the door. I knocked on the door to get in, and they actually didn't let us in for like 2 hours.
Support for Ramplify comes from Victorville Cadillac, offering a selection of new and pre-owned Cadillac vehicles. More information about Victorville Cadillac's latest inventory is available at vvcadillac.com. Listener discretion is advised. The following episode includes discussions of drugs, abuse, violence, death, and other mature subject matter. These topics are shared through a conversation between two Victor Valley College students reflecting on their experiences in foster care.
Welcome back to the Ramplifi Podcast. It's been your boy Joseph Lopez. We are here talking about foster care awareness, in honor of foster care awareness, with Yvette Chavarin. She is we are student advocates for foster care, and let's get back into it. I wanted to start this next segment by saying, like, what are you majoring in? At Victor Valley College?
So right now I'm actually double majoring in surprisingly welding,
right,
and digital media.
Awesome.
I was doing child development because at first I thought, early on I thought, like, I've been told my whole life, you're so resilient, you're so strong, you should write a book.
Facts.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, I would like to, but like, I don't like writing.
Lines, I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of writing how I feel and what I went through.
No,
but
for sure. That's what therapy's for.
That's what therapy's for. Yeah. I'm done with therapy. Yeah. Not really. But,
not really.
I did go into child development with the mindset of like, I'm going to change lives. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be a social worker. And honestly, right now, in the position that I am in life, I don't really see myself being a social worker.
Yeah.
I do like what we do through Next Up with Glow Up, what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about Glow Up a little bit later, which I'm really excited to get into. But how did VVC shape you? Like, how did you start attending VVC?
Well, I mean, education has always been pretty important to me. I mean, it's been embedded into my system since I was young, having so many family members, like I said, in the education system, harping on me like, school's important, you need to have your grades up, you need to graduate, you need to have an education, you need to have a higher education. And so, I mean, while school wasn't always my focus in life, I do now find enjoyment in school as much as, like, it was kind of pushed on me at a young age.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed school as a kid. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed school as a kid, but what really ruined it for me was the bouncing around. Like, I would, I bounced around.
I didn't mind
so
it because
much.
then I could be a whole different person, and then in 4 months you're never gonna see me again. So I could just lie the whole time.
Yeah, see, that's cool to a degree, but when you actually want to make friends and build that, chemistry, it's like, yo, what are we doing?
I think I didn't really try to make friends growing up because I knew I was gonna leave anyway, and I didn't want to get attached to anyone that I knew I was gonna forget after a couple years. So I think I really only made genuine friends like really later on in life. And especially now, like, I have friends who I didn't even meet in high school. Like, I just met them like on the fly through people I already knew.
Going through the system, did you see yourself going to college, or was that not an option?
I didn't even see myself making it past 13, honestly.
Really? Wow.
I thought the world was going to take me, or I was going to take myself.
Wow, that's crazy. I think that's very important to talk about in honor of mental health, being in May as well. That's something that is very prominent. I think a lot of people go through that. I know I went through that to a degree.
Yeah.
Mine was 25 though. I didn't want to make it to 25. You know what I mean?
I just didn't want to struggle. I didn't want to see myself ending up like my dad, struggling the way he was on the streets.
Right.
And I was also scared that I was going to end up on the streets without knowing what opportunities I would have growing up. So I was just like, I mean, if I don't see myself graduating and I keep bouncing around, I mean, I've already lived a lifetime. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I keep getting told like I'm 14 going on 40, man. I feel 40.
Right. Like, how is that fair to me? You feel me? Or anybody, really?
Yeah.
But I just want to say, I mean, you come across as a very strong individual and a very strong advocate at that. What kind of voluntary work do you do for foster care?
Right now, we're doing Glow Up through the Next Up program here at VVC, and that's really exciting for me. Yeah. I mean, we just got done with the council advisory meeting.
Yeah, that was so awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Like, seeing the turnout, you know what I mean, and everybody show up, bro. Like,
I wish I could have stayed longer for that.
Nah, you know what, man? Listen, bro. I think we represented it very, very well. Like seeing everybody at the table. There was way more people than the last time.
Way more.
Yeah.
It was
just to give people, you know, an understanding of, because a lot of people don't know about this program at all. But basically, we had a meeting on Tuesday with a bunch of people from around the district that service people in foster care, whether it be through Thrive, which is another program that we have as well,
ILP, THP.
Right. You know what I mean? Like there's these group of individuals that are connected with many different sources, right? Mm-hmm. So that was the pretense of the meeting and why it was important to do it. But one of the things that we focused on primarily was being more than just a placement, you know, because obviously, you know, being in foster care, there's one thing, right? But like, we're so much more than that. We're so much more than what we've.
And there's so much more after that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why it was so important to me to do the exhibit, because obviously it showed people kind of like an insight of what it is that we went through and what that simple, whether it was an animal or certificate or whatever, you know what I mean, meant to us, you know.
Just that small thing, how it carried us through the system, even if it was for a little bit, or even if it was for after, or it was through someone who was important to us during that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you should talk about like what you brought personally. I think that, I mean, if you feel comfortable.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you know, now that I'm out of the system, I've been in THP for almost 2 years now, transitional housing program, not THC.
Yes, exactly.
But, you know, being in THP for almost 2 years now, I still have, like, you know, certain things that, you know, I brought with me from like homes and group homes and stuff. And one of those being a gray bear that sits pretty on my glorious pink bed.
Right.
He was given to me. I don't remember exactly how long ago. I want to say it was 8 years now, though, that I've had him. And he was actually a court bear. He was when the court bears were cool, because now they're like these little like dumb. What are those? The little beanie bear things. I don't like those. I couldn't tell you just
because I haven't been in that in a long time. But you know what I mean.
Now they give like these really cheap like $2 bears. Right. When before they used to look like Build-A-Bears. Huh? Yeah. They used to look like Build-A-Bears. Yeah, they're really nice looking. Yeah. And he's my favorite little thing in the whole world. He's all flat and wobbly now because I've taken such good care of him.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I think what really highlighted that moment for me in that event was the fact that like. I was able to show the certificate that we completed together with Glow Up and Give Back. Yeah. I'm sorry, with Give Back, sorry. But the certificate that we completed was the...
Glow Up is with Give Back.
Right, it's kind of like I guess you could say a partnership to a degree, but Glow Up is also its own thing, you know what I mean? Which, again, for those of you that don't know, Glow Up is a leadership program kind of pertaining to people with foster that have been in foster care or are in foster care currently. It basically gives them the opportunity to meet people alike, you know what I mean, with like that have been through the system as well. And not only that, but giving them the resources that should be provided to them should they need it. You know what I mean?
It's us, you know, building community within the community of Next Up that we have.
It's an extension.
Yeah,
it's an extension.
Which, I mean, we do want to extend in the future.
Yeah. And some of the things that we provide within Glow Up are Glow Up and just Next Up in general are mental health services. And we also do provide some of the,
we provide information, you know, guiding youth who may not fully understand what they want to do in the future and not understand what rights they have as a youth.
Yeah, there you go.
We want to make sure that gets pushed out there, especially older youth who are nearing the age of, you know, 17 turning 18. We want to make sure that they understand there's so many different pathways and opportunities that you could take.
Oh, for sure. And we're just the beginning of it. I think it's something that has the ability to go so far, you know. There's so many different services that you can get within that. We offer, you know, showering services for those that can't, you know, do that. I think we also have like a laundry service as well.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do know about I do know in Next Up that we have the shower thing.
Right,
but.
You know what I mean? So, but it's like people, you know, there's going to be people that watch this that need to know more or less like what it is that we offer. Some people probably don't even know about, you know.
Well, foster youth here at the college who aren't involved with Next Up, who I think you should be involved with because they've really helped. I mean, going back on, you know, my father and stuff, when he passed away, you know, late February of 2025, it was really hard. And I didn't really know what to do because it was kind of framed to be put on me what to do, even though I know I had outside family members who wanted to be involved and like help with that, of course. I remember going to Next Up the next day because I had even stopped going to classes after that. I was just really stuck because, like, I mean, that's my dad. You know, how do I navigate not having him around, even though he wasn't around physically? I had went to, Next Up to talk to Jackie. Shout out Jackie. I hope she
Shout
hears
out the whole
this.
Next Up family.
Shout out
Sandra,
the whole Next Up family. But
Amber, like everybody, bro. Yeah.
But, I had went to her and I was just like venting to her, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm stuck. My dad passed away. And at that time, she knew how important my dad was to me. And she was like, well, let me get in contact with someone.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And to cut the story short, they ended up funding like $5,000 to my dad's cremation service. And that was really, honestly, one of the biggest things that someone has ever done for me.
Yeah,
genuinely.
that's
Not
huge,
even
bro.
talking about the people who put me in their homes, thankfully, or,
Right.
placements who would become family. Shout out Lupe.
Hey.
That's my
shout out
sister,
Lupe,
for real.
yeah.
I love her.
That's right.
I love her family.
Yeah.
Having almost like a family relationship here in Next Up is really important to me.
Yeah, I think that it's important too because family is what you make of it at this point because obviously you've been through a lot of different things, right? And as a foster kid, I feel like you find more family in strangers than you do in your actual family.
A lot of the people that I consider family members are not related to me.
Right, exactly. But that's my point though. Like, I feel like, a lot of people don't realize that, they think, oh, you get out of the system or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like you're back with your family. Like, nah, man, that's not how it works. G.
It definitely, growing up, it definitely felt like there was an invisible wall between me and my blood relatives.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially growing up when we didn't really talk much about what happened to me growing up. It was just kind of like not brushed under the rug per se. Like they knew, obviously. I knew. How could I not know? But it was very much so like, okay, that happened. Let's move on.
You've been through a lot of stuff, bro. And, I've had the privilege of knowing you for a while. You know what I mean? We met before this, right? And I've known you for a while now. But it's like seeing the things that you've not only been through, you know what I'm saying, but continue to like make light of, regardless of how bad it might seem. I know one of the jokes you told me was you were at school and they were having like a show and tell thing, and you brought your dad to school.
Oh yeah, I did bring my dad to school.
Yeah,
I brought his urn.
Yeah,
it was
I was
nice.
like, but it's so funny though.
Sorry, producer here. You brought your father's ashes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It was that TikTok trend where you're like, you bring random objects from home to school, and I was like, wait, they never met my dad.
Random object.
Yeah, so I brought my dad. I dap up my dad all the time.
We don't control what it is that we go through. We don't control how that is navigated, but we do control our response to it,
Sometimes when you fall, all you can do is just get up and laugh about it.
Facts, and you have,
Yeah.
you've fallen so many times, but you seem to get up every time. And I think that as an individual, not only just as a foster kid, but as a female in the foster system, that's huge, bro. You know what I mean? There's so many horror stories that you hear of women just falling off the deep end specifically. And it's just like, the fact that you are not another statistic and that you rise above the occasion every time, I applaud you with that.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. And honestly, I applaud the survivors who have gone through that in the system because, I can't personally say that I was a victim of anything, of all the horrors that I've heard. I do know people who were in the system that were trafficked, and hearing about that is just horrific. And I really am so grateful that I got out of that before anything like that could happen to me.
Yeah. I think that that's very important. And again, I say this a lot, but I'm proud of you. And it leads me to my next question is like, if you could change one thing about the system, whether it be current or maybe even something that you went through that maybe you feel like you didn't have to go through, what would that be?
We need more openness.
We
need to be so out loud and open about the system and what it holds. Not too long ago, I'll talk about this shortly because, it is hard for me.
Yeah.
A youth that I met along the way at a group home that I was living at. We went to camp and I met her and she was just a really big light. She was so energetic. She was so great. She was so funny too. Yeah. And I didn't really know I don't really keep up with what happens, after the group home and stuff.
Yeah,
I keep up with the staff, but
right.
I didn't keep up with anyone who I lived with.
Yeah.
And I had just found out through the grapevine that she had been kidnapped and murdered. And
Wow.
it would just like really broke me for a moment because I remembered, sharing memories with her and stuff like that. And I even have a photo of her, like a physical photo that was
Wow.
printed out for me. And I just
Wow.
it really dawned on me like, wow,
Yeah.
this is like so normalized in the
Right,
system.
right.
At that same placement out there in Hemet, I was told how there was like a whole sex ring
Wow.
thing that had happened with a foster home
Right.
out there. And it's just like, I really do think about the fact that could being me.
Right. Yeah. And I think that it could have been anybody.
It could have been. It could be anyone. And I know that that's not just something that happens in the system, but I feel like it's just not talked about enough.
Right.
And of course, there's everything in the world isn't talked about enough. There's so much going on in the world. But I personally really want there to be more communication out there for foster youth, and also for there to be more openness about the pathways that you could take. Because I mean, you've had your own story, and you know what you're doing now, like, or people in Glow Up with us, like all of us have different stories, and all of us have different, you know, where we're at in life dealing with the system. And it's very interesting to me how it's just there's just so many different paths you could take. That's just so interesting to me.
We just don't know about.
I feel like I said interesting like a bajillion times.
No, I know, but I think it's factual though too, because I think that we definitely live in a time where things are very touch and go, and it's all about this cancel culture type vibe, you know. And it's like as good as it is, and as grateful as it could be in some ways, it's like, you know, you want to cancel stuff, but you don't want to change stuff at the same time. You know what I mean?
Speaking on that, I just feel like people only bring up the foster care, like, kids when it has to do with whatever cause they're dealing with.
For sure.
Especially not to touch too much on it, because then I know this is a touchy subject, but when people talk about, you know, abortion rights and stuff like that, all of a sudden now they want to bring up how, why don't you adopt the kids in the foster system? Why do we only matter when it's your cause?
Right. You know what I mean? But
I don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're picking out a car. You know what I mean?
You're not picking out a new toy for your doggy.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know,
bro,
you're picking a kid who has a lot of, you know, traumas and a story coming behind them, and it's not as easy as it looks.
If you can talk about your perspective as a woman in foster care and what you think people are often misunderstood, like or what is overlooked.
With any child specifically, but if I'm talking about just women, it's really hard going into a new home and expected to understand, like, these are your new parents and this is your new father. Yeah. This is like your new father figure. This is your new mother figure. And your room is adjacent to them, by the way. Right. Like, it's kind of weird, especially like most homes don't allow you to have locks on doors for obvious reasons. I mean, you know, I don't want to try to be like, oh, well, we should have locks on doors and stuff like that to protect women.
But I think there should be some sort of like code of conduct to a degree.
And of course, like, you know, they have training and they go through procedures and stuff like that. And anytime the social worker is over, they'll usually talk to you in private. Yeah. And also, like, while the parents are there, like, they'll do two separate, you know, communications depending on the situation at hand of why you're talking. Right. But I think it's just really, it is very overwhelming at times. It's overwhelming for sure. And it's very nerve-wracking. Like, I think one time, no, not that I think. You know. I know, like, from experience at my group home, you know, I've mentioned that a couple times now, but we did get one male staff member. Okay. It was an all-female house. This is an all-female 6-bed house. And we had one time where they were like, hey, so we're going to have a new staff member. And usually they don't make this such a big announcement, but they did this time because it ended up being a male. And it was really weird. I mean, I wasn't too, like, taken back by it, because, like, I kind of expected something like that to happen, but it was still very weird because, like, we all live in this house alone. Yeah. A lot of the staff members, we don't have locks on our doors. They're allowed to just walk in. Yeah. Okay. So lastly, I just want to say, for anybody out there listening, whether they're current or former foster youth, and maybe they're younger or older, what is something that you can give to them about your experience at VBC, whether it be educational or just something that it would help them get through what they're going through currently? I know it's different from everyone, but coming from someone who was told their whole life, like, oh, you're so resilient, you're so strong, it kind of puts you on a pedestal that, like, you have to continue doing so great, even though you feel like you're kind of drowning in a sense, and you're kind of skating above water. Yeah. And if you fail or you drown, I mean, you're a product, you're a failure, you're not living up. Buddy. Like, you know what I mean? You're cooked. You might feel like you have to succeed. You have to continue to succeed in order to prove almost to whoever out there is watching that you need to be better than what you came from. Yeah. And it's really hard. I mean, like I mentioned, you know, everything with my dad, with my family, I'm still going through that every day. At that, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big process, you know. I'm still recovering, and it's really hard sometimes. I do have bad days. I do have days where I want to give up and not, you know, do anything, but I know I have to get up in the morning and go to school and go to work like everyone else. So what would you tell your younger self
Like, how would you explain that to them? Where you're at now, looking at where you're at now, how would you explain that? It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to be on a podcast.
Wait, but I didn't fully answer the question, I think.
Well, that's what I was going to try to tie it in.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oopsie. I misread. She doesn't have to be resilient all the time. Yeah. You're allowed to have days.
You can show emotion.
Yeah, you're allowed to break down. I think I struggle with that a lot still, with being told so much. But being at VBC here, it's allowed me to open up more. It's allowed me to be more confident in myself, especially knowing that I have the Next Up staff that are always there to guide me. I mean, I've changed my major twice already, and I'm still given the same amount of support that I was given when I started, despite my mistakes here at the school. They allow me to have mistakes. I feel like outside of that, I'm not allowed to have mistakes, regardless of how many mistakes I've already made.
No, I feel that. And I think that, in a nutshell, like, the bigger picture is that it's okay to mess up. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to, feel like you don't, you haven't completed your journey yet. Like, it's all part of the course. And I think that you're supposed to feel a sense of, like, incompletion to a degree. You're supposed to feel like it's a burden almost, right? Because you want to be able to be your best self and push yourself to the best of your capabilities.
You continue to push yourself, hoping that you see a better reflection in the mirror.
Yeah.
When that reflection's not going to change.
And that reflection is you regardless. Yeah. You can be good, bad.
Despite whatever. Everything, it's still you.
Right. Because you're still trying. You're still showing up for yourself every single day, being the best version of yourself possible, even if it's not perfect. Yeah. There's no such thing as perfect. Perfect is whatever you make it. You understand? It's not about what people tell you to do, or it's not about how people tell you to do things. It's about what you feel like you can handle for that day or for that moment. You know what I mean? Like,
and if you feel like you can't look in that mirror every day, that's okay.
I'm a very positive person, you know what I mean? And, some days I don't feel positive, but that's okay, because that's not a character. That's not something that I play. It's who I am as an individual, yes, but that doesn't mean that it's always sunny. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's thunderstorming, dog. But you know what? I'm still showing up for myself, you know what I mean? For my people, for my team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to it,
I mean, for this, I kind of joked lightly, throughout the podcast, and it's honestly like, just a response to how heavy it is, or how heavy it can be at times. Because, I mean, I joke, and it's funny. I know I'm funny. But, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an experience that I went through, and I want to... I'm grateful that I can share that experience here, even if this is just a couple chapters of my life. Yeah,
man. And honestly, bro, I feel like you're destined to go way further than this, bro. You're on this couch right now doing this podcast with me, dog, and with everybody around us, and... this is just a glimpse of what it could be if you just continue to try harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, I wouldn't be able to be here right now doing what I'm doing without the support of you and Next Up in the school. Like, if I just decided to not go to school, I mean, I wanted to take a break from school. If I had decided to take that break and not, find anything out about what we are building with Glow Up, or, getting to fully,
take advantage
and stuff like that. Yeah. I would not be sitting on this couch right now doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't have been at the advisory council meeting. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to build what we did for the panel or for the exhibit. I mean, there's so many good things that we're doing right now that make me feel really proud of what I went through, instead of kind of pushing me that I have to be proud.
I want to say thank you for sitting down with me and talking about foster care awareness. I think it's very important, and you've used the platform well to be able to express your story. And I did want to just take the opportunity to plug in, like, that we do have Glow Up as a foundation. We talked about it a little bit earlier on. And we do have meetings every Monday at 3:00, where in Building 10B, where we kind of give foster care affiliates the ability to kind of sit down and mingle with each other, right?
Yeah. And if you are a foster youth out there at VVC who isn't plugged in with Next Up, you should you should get involved with them. And if you are involved with Next Up, you should definitely join us for Glow Up. I would love to hear from you.
For more information on that, you can find it at vvc.edu, and that'll kind of give you more information of what it is that we do. But with that being said, thank you for your time, and we're good. We're done.
Ciao.
Ramplifi The Podcast is filmed and recorded in Victorville, California. This podcast is made possible with the support of the Associate Student Body of Victor Valley College. The views and opinions expressed in this production are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Victor Valley College or its affiliates. Ramplified is hosted by Andrew Caravella and produced by Robert A. Swool. The production crew includes officers of the Associate Student Body for the 2025-2026 academic year. Ramplified Season 2 gives special thanks to our sponsors, Victorville Cadillac, VVC's Welding Department, Joe and Sydney Monty, and Jacobo Vincecara. Podcast audio distribution made possible by KVVB Television. Additional sponsorship made possible through Lowe's Home Improvement in Victorville. I'm Social Science Senator Seth Cabello. For more information about this podcast, please contact info@vvc.edu.
Support for Ramplify comes from Victorville Cadillac, offering new and pre-owned Cadillac vehicles with financing options, including pre-approval available. More information about Victorville Cadillac's latest inventory is at vvcadillac.com.